Welcome home, neighbors, to a special edition of the My DVC Points Community Hall Live. I am live tonight. I got my buddy Ron here. How you doing tonight, Ron?
I'm doing great, Chad. How are you?
I'm doing great. I can't complain. I got maybe a little bit of a cold coming in, some allergies. Time will tell how it's going to shake out, Ron. So
Well,
if you guys see me grabbing the Kleenex box tonight, give me a little bit of a prayer there that this is just allergies or something and we get over it quick. But it has been like over a year since we have done one of these incentive insight shows. And every month I do a monthly recap report on what's going on with the resale market. But it's very rare that we get to come back in and just sit down and talk about the DVC incentives. And I think it's just because it's so much more work to try to cover them and all of the crazy stuff that they do with DVC incentives and going over it and like the math and everything else. It's you got to do a lot to it to break that down. But and so quick shout out to Dapper Vanta crew as well for tuning in live. It's good to see them as well. But Ron, you sent me a text the other day saying,
Yeah.
"Hey, have you seen the Fort Wilderness cabins?" And I was like, "Well, as a matter of fact, I have not, because I am not paying attention to that, because there is
Right.
no way I'm
Right.
buying that resort, Ron." So
No, and we were so critical of it when it first came out, and rightfully so, right? So, but then when I happened to see the updated incentives that came out, I wanted to shoot you that message because while we can still be critical of it for obvious reasons with the amount for dues and things like that, the deal that they're putting out right now, I think we're obligated to tell people about it because
yeah,
it's not real, it's not too shabby.
yeah. Well, let's come back in and we'll hit share screen here,
Yeah,
and let's come over to the official one here, Ron, and we'll bring this up into the official deal
yeah.
and start to look at this. And guys, you have to request this when you're dealing with a direct guide, okay? And I always come back in and ask my guide for a link to these documents for any time I'm looking at incentives. And I suggest you do the same. You can go use the estimator tool on the website, but it's not going to give you the details and the granularity that this is going to come back in and do. Okay. And I'm just going to scroll down a page because this has got the financing on it on the first page for premium. This just means a
10%,
member in good
yeah.
standing. And the only thing we're looking at tonight is existing member incentives.
Mhm.
They're slightly worse, maybe $5 a point if you're a brand new member.
Right.
And if you're a brand new member, while I'm thinking of it, there's a program out there called Dream It Forward. And if you know a friend who owns DVC, you can ask them for their link. And I think, depending on the state that they're in, when I was in Michigan, we got nothing. Here in Florida, I think it's about a $150 gift card for one person a year if they use your link. Given that we're coming up on 2025,
Mhm.
I will not have had my link used in 2025. I don't think I've had it used in 2024 because we didn't do the show then, Ron. But I know I got like 60 people that watched the show on YouTube
Right.
and went to this link and filled out the form. And all that this form does is I'll come back over to it really quick.
Yeah.
We'll bring up a new tab, mydvcpoints.com/dream it forward. It's just going to forward you over to the exact Disney site as if you had my referral link.
Right.
And it's just going to use my link and forward you over there. And says with this referral, you can earn an extra $500 on top of our current special offers. So everything that's out there today, this is a bonus $500 if you're a brand new member and you're not eligible for the exact prices that we've
Right.
got showing today, but you get an extra $500. So take it for what it's worth, Ron.
I'm not walking
It's-
by 500 if it's laying on the floor.
Yeah. I'm going to stop and click a link or mydvcpoints.com/dream it
You
forward.
got it.
If you don't have a friend, okay. If you
Right.
have a friend, ask them for their link.
Yes.
Throw your friend the bone as well.
Yeah.
Because I get enough people when I talk about this and I do these shows that click my link that it doesn't matter to me. Okay. But if you don't have a friend and you just want to hit the easy button, mydvcpoints.com/dream it forward, we'll bring you right over here, and it'll be an extra $500 if you do that. And if you get a chance, ask for my guide, Randy Kruger. He is a phenomenal person. And yeah, you can always ask your friend for their guide as well. But mine is Randy, and he is an old school guy from day one of selling Old Key West when it opened up. He was an original guide, and he's still there today. So, yeah, good stuff there. Good stuff there. So let's come back over to this, and I think we were on Fort Wilderness Cabins. I've got them all open here, and you just pointed out something to me right now, new, Ron.
Right before we went on the air, yeah.
Additional developer credit. This is the only site that's doing this right now, and this is, I guess, part of the insane deal. You were saying, hey, did you see this?
Correct.
Because, okay, first off, they're knocking some major dollars off here from 20, 23, 37, 41. There's a fire sale going on right now at these cabins. Okay. Huge. And then they're going to throw an additional $1,000 on you. So the way we like to look at things is we look at the 100-point mark. We look at the 150, and because at 100, they'll start throwing you a little bit of something, $15 off. Yeah. Then we look at 150, even though there is one for 125. Friends, do not let friends buy 125.
Never.
Look at that. The discount's going up $2,000.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not only going up $2,000, but you got this extra $1,000 on it as well.
Right.
And I'll show you in a second. Let me stop sharing this, and let me come back over to my little nerdy Excel file we've got going here.
Nerdy.
Yeah. I mean, hey, I'm a nerd. I'll own it.
Hey,
and
nobody said there would be math.
So let's see if we can do this, Ron. Well,
oh, nice.
Yeah, we'll keep it there. We'll keep us off to the side.
Yeah, that's better. That is better.
But if we look at this, Fort Wilderness is in the pink columns here. And I can get rid of all of these errors because they are not errors. They are just an inconsistent formula.
Correct.
But if you look at this, you're going to go from $15 a point discount to $26.67. That's going to drop that from $210 to $198 a point. And that's with rounding. I could come back in and this was the only thing that didn't round like this. And it's a couple of them. So I can nerd out here in Excel. And there you go. There's your actual discounts then as to what this comes out to per point. And we always want you guys to do the math when you look at doing direct. After all this smoke and mirrors clear from the direct marketing, what does this come out to my per point cost?
Correct.
And the reason why we're doing that is sooner or later, you're going to want to resale this. And you're going to need to look at the resale market, which is why we're a huge fan of DVC Resale Market. Go over there. If you're buying, even if you're considering buying direct and you don't even want to look at resale, you owe it to yourself to go over to the resale market and understand how it operates, how it functions, because sooner or later, life will change and you might want to sell. So educate yourself on the front end on this before you make a big buying decision and tying up 20, 30, 40, 50 grand, whatever it is you're buying into DVC. But as we look at this, this is what we're coming out and shaking down to per point. And I think, Ron, you were a big fan of the 300-point mark.
Yeah, I felt like at the 300-point mark, when you look at the all-in expense and you look at what you're getting for the discount, and when you add that developer credit to get a shade over $40 a point off at the current price, which I believe is going up here in a couple months. So you're going to want to make sure that you contemplate. And Chad, you can go into that trick about doing if you're going to purchase direct, do it less than 10 days before the new incentives come out, because then you get that whole free look window, right? To be able to rip that one up and take the better incentive if they get any better.
Yeah, this has got some pretty fine print on it. And it looks like December credits start on December 12th. And everything has to be completed by February 10th, 2025, as I look at this.
Right.
If that's the case, if you were to buy this within the last 10 days of that period, you're going to have a get out of jail free card where you can just rip up your contract and say, I want out. Give me back my deposit. I'm gone. I'm out of here. We're done. And the benefit to that is if you buy this thing on, let's say, February 9th, and in our hypothetical example, February 10th is the last date of it, you're going to have, 10 days that you can look at this contract and you're going to be able to see what the new incentives are.
Correct.
And if the new incentives got better, you say, hey, rip this up, let me out. I want the new ones.
Yep.
And if the new incentives are not better, which usually they're not following a big Santa Christmas sale, then you keep your existing deal.
Yeah, exactly. So that's that little hack there, the little trick there about timing. But yeah, to get in and to get an overall incentive value at 300 points, when you look at the per point deduction plus the extra 1,000, you're getting a little over 11 grand off of the top. Approximately $40 and change a point. And as we were talking to a little bit before we got on here, points go far in the cabins, right, Chad? They're like studio pricing, but you're getting the ability of six people can stay in the cabin, and it is technically more of a one-bedroom. It's a one-bedroom category, so you're getting that for studio points. So they go far. You don't necessarily need to buy more than 300, especially when you're talking direct, when you've got you got to worry about resale restrictions, because we are talking about the cabins that would have resale restrictions. So,
and we don't know what else you're going to be able to do with these.
Correct.
They put these cabins into some type of new
trust,
like Palmetto Trust. It's a new thing, and it's been very foggy, mystic.
Yeah.
Disney's not been very clear as to what all that means.
No.
And so are they going to group it in with the new Reflections Resort that's coming up, or the Lakeside Lodge, or whatever we're calling it? And you could 11-month into that or 9-month into it. We don't know.
Right.
We don't know, and they aren't exactly coming outright with any details.
Yeah, and if I'm thinking ahead, Chad, so we just got our new dues statements, right? They came out here a couple weeks ago for our Christmas present, like we get every year. And surprisingly, with the Poly Tower being built, the dues at the Polynesian actually went down this year from last year.
So did the cabins.
And the cabins went down as well. So, if we do a little forward thinking and say, hypothetically, this Palmetto Trust, that they have the ability to loop in this Lakeside Lodge with the cabins, and they're going to put that all together in that trust, and they can spread those dues obligations out between that many more points. My goodness, if you could lock in at a massive deal like this and potentially have the dues go down substantially, if indeed that would be the case, that would be like hitting the a mini lotto right there.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be the case.
I know, but we can dream.
I mean, you could hope, Ron, but
yeah. And that's why you don't want to go too crazy with these points on the direct side. You look for the sweet spots, right? 150, 300. I think those are probably the two best, depending upon what you're looking to do. 150, if you're an existing member and you bought resale and you don't have any direct or member benefits yet, 150 is a heck of an entry point at 150 to get those member benefits if you've been a member for over a year, and you lock that in and you get your member benefits and a nice little chunk of change back.
Yeah, I'm seriously looking at the 150 level, because at this point in time we're looking at a out the door price at 28,250.
Correct.
Just looking at the chart here. And yeah, that's about as much as I'm willing to pay for Blue Card benefits here. I'll switch back over, because I did a little bit of analysis here, and I'm sorry I can't just switch tabs, because I'm actually switching between Excel and Safari, because I'm a Mac guy, so I've got to come back in and do this.
It's a Mac daddy.
Exactly. But if I scroll down on these a little bit,
I saw that.
Right, this is my 150 premium at 150. It's when I look at what resale was doing, 101 on Alani, you're going to pay $110 more a month, $110 more a point to buy direct. That's an ouchie moment, Ron.
Oh, it's big time.
Right over here at Riviera.
Riv.
Yeah, you're going to pay $97 premium to buy direct right now, which is another ouchie moment, but at least your points will go anywhere when you're the original buyer.
Correct.
Okay. and we don't have any data on Fort Wilderness
Nope.
because I think they actually have to sell some first before it can hit the resale market.
I think this is part of what they're doing, right? Trying to sell a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah, but you know, the fundamental problem is in order to have a resale, you have to have a sale. And the sales here have been kind of doggy for you know, like we pointed out with the dues, with hey, you've got one booking category. I could go on a wait list and have 300 plus opportunities when this thing does sell out to get a cabin here at the 7-month mark.
Yeah.
So it's just not looking very incentivized to me. Just
not at the moment,
whole structure of the deal, not even looking at the dues.
Right.
Just one cabin, one thing in your arrow, one thing in your this, you're locked into it. The mystery behind Palmetto Trust.
Yeah.
It's a great deal. Okay.
Yeah.
Here at 150 point,
you
know, you're dropping down to 198. It'll probably be the cheapest thing there at 150.
Oh, for sure.
It is. Yeah.
For sure.
It's under 200 a point
to
buy it direct. If you're a cabins fan and that's your jam, you might want to consider it. Okay?
And to your point, they're direct points, so they can spend anywhere, including the Disneyland, including Riviera, because they're direct. So yeah,
because you're buying it direct. Now, whoever you sell it to is going to be a cabins fan because that's the only place they're going. And unless they happen to change the rules.
Correct.
And you know, but you've still got 50 years left on this contract, especially if you buy before February 1st. Because even if you have a February use year, you're going to get this year's points. You're going to get all 50 years of points. That's a pro for buying it.
Huge.
And then if we look at the Poly, at 150 points, you're really only looking at a $45 a point premium, Ron.
Yeah.
That's right now. I think this 170 is pumped up a little bit high.
Of course it is. Yeah.
I really think 150 to 160 is about where that should be. So if we call that $45 a point, $65 a point.
Yeah.
I think you're going to be doing okay. Okay.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah.
And, you know, it's still going to be my go-to, what I recommend. It's a tried and true resort. It's on the monorail. It rents exceptionally well, right? It's locked into the classic 14s. So whoever buys it is going to, you know, have some options on the resale market whenever they get ready to book in and use their points. They're just not locked into a resort. So Poly is still my go-to recommendation at this point in time, Ron.
Yeah, I'm going to jump in there
for the blue cards.
Yeah, but I'm going to jump in too, though. If it's for the blue card, yes. But I think because, you know, Poly being part of the original association and being able to use those resale points at the tower, you don't have to pay that 45 extra or 40, whatever it is extra. And you could still get all the benefits. Whereas with the cabins, you know, you can't use resale if you bought after the rules changed. You know,
but you
things
can buy
like that.
Poly direct, get your blue card. Now you've got 150 points to use at the cabins, which I think is more than enough to stay there for a week.
Yeah. And you're saving on a ton on dues versus Poly versus the cabins as well. So you're going to save on an annual
almost
basis.
$4 a point this year.
Yeah. Yeah. And multiply that by 100, right? 150. So yeah.
Times the next 41 years.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah. Poly is a really, the incentive doesn't, you know, it doesn't look as lucrative, but do the math, all of the math, and it's a pretty darn good deal, especially with resale, holding resale value as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll go back over to DVC Resale Market's website on that so you guys can see where I pulled that data from as well. Also, right now, last month, I don't think they probably only sold one contract, and it was probably a small one or something like that.
For the tower,
for Disneyland Hotel, because that is exceptionally high. I've been seeing them in the 145s, right? So that's saying a $26 premium at 150. I think you need to add at least $40 onto that.
Yeah, that's
a reasonable number.
Yeah, that average is inflated, I think, because of lack of amount. Yeah.
Now you still got 49 years left there, but you've got the dues that are slightly high and a transient tax that is a showstopper.
Yeah.
At $287 per point in 2025. So you're looking at $1,269 to use your points at your home resort. And that is steep, Ron.
That is, and even with that being said, we're both proud owners of it. So
Yeah, we are. And to be honest, Ron, I'm eyeballing like 200 more points there. It's
you know, with everything coming forward, literally, with the information that's come out this past year, and knowing that there is no way, unless they start buying up these good neighbors, there's no way there's going to be another Disney DVC property in that area. At least not, maybe not in our lifetime. So if you
it
want
won't be
in, you better
it
own there.
won't be there in this side of it, right? It looks like
Correct.
with
Correct.
Disneyland Forward, they're going to be building another area closer to the Garden Walk area, something over there. And they might have room to shoehorn in another resort or another tower or something like that.
Maybe.
And I
But
have
look at the
heard,
time on that. Yeah.
have had listeners paying attention to this
Mhm.
that have told me it is definitely in the plan for another
Okay.
DVC resort that's over there. They have
Well, that would be
mentioned
great.
it.
But that's
So,
certainly not going to be for, I mean, gosh, that would be minimum probably 7 to 10 years from now,
yeah.
I would say.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I'm not a young guy anymore. I got to use every year I got.
I'm with you, Ron. I am with you. It's I'm definitely with you on that one. So yeah, I
So,
am definitely looking at this 200 point mark, which would drop this down to 213. There was an incentive, and I think it's gone bye-bye. And I think they were taking an extra $1,500 off for Disneyland Magic Key holders, which is their annual
right.
pass.
Right.
And I think it just went away a few days ago. And
Yeah,
but that one
26
was
a point. That's a nice deal at 200, 26 a point. That's a really nice deal
especially if you can knock another 1,500 off of that
with that magic key. Yeah.
with the Magic Key, maybe get this down to what, close to like
Hell,
209-ish.
150. Hell, 150 is at 24 a point. You throw that magic, if they give the magic key discount on 150,
Yeah.
it's an extra $10 a point off.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. That dropped that down to what?
Man.
205. Or no, it'd be 15, so it'd
Yeah.
be 200, right?
Yeah, because you'd be taking 39 a point off. Yeah, 200 a point. Wow. That's resale pricing right there, basically.
Not far from it. Not far from it.
And not having to go in for 3, 4, 500 to get that.
Absolutely. And so let's see. Just coming into our comments here. Steven says, "Hey fellas, is there a way to get a copy of this spreadsheet?" And I guess shoot me an email as well. I don't have enough people that are going to be watching this show that I'll be bombarded, but it's just mydvcpoints@gmail.com. And I will shoot you back a copy of the spreadsheet as well. And so then Stephen asked, any direct incentives on Copper Creek? If not, do you think they will have it future? Yes, they absolutely positively do. Because I asked my guide to cover that. And if I scroll over just a little bit more, we've got the Copper Creek, and it is nothing to write home about.
No.
It is like, if you're a Copper Creek owner and you really want more of it, then it's up for a redo here, right? But current price $250 a point, which is the highest thing out here listed right now. And it's the last resort that you could buy that is unrestricted for staying at your own home resort. You can still only stay at the Classic 14, but it's the last one sold. So 43 years left on this. And so they're taking off $5 here at 100. And then at 150, it's going to drop you down to 240. And then 20, 25, it's just nothing to write home about.
Yeah, and if you're trying to go to Copper Creek at those really busy times, you're certainly going to want to own there. But for anything else, any other time, I've stayed a number of times at Boulder Ridge, Copper Creek with the 7-month window, and there was plenty of availability. So with the deals that are elsewhere, unless it's really important to have that 11-month, your resale is by far the better option for Copper Creek.
Yeah, and that's what Steven says. He's a Copper Creek owner, resale, and he wants more of it.
I'd be curious, Steven, if you got member benefits with any points anywhere, because if not, you could certainly take advantage of possibly one of these other resorts, and still obviously use those at Copper Creek because they don't have the restrictions like some of the newer ones after that did.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I think that's what I would do right now, Ron.
Yeah.
If I did not have any direct points,
Hmm.
I would still be looking at Poly.
Of course.
And just because of I'm all about minimizing that gap. Okay.
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
I know sooner or later I'm going to sell. And what's interesting about Copper Creek right now is why I think this is so artificially low as to where it should be, is we're now getting into the 7 to 8 year itch because there's
Correct.
43 years left on this. So it's been out there for 7 years. So
Hmm.
those original buyers like me who bought it right when it went on sale
Hmm.
are now at the point where 50% of us are coming back in and reevaluating our situation and saying
Hmm.
it's time to drop.
Yep.
It's just time to say goodbye here. And they came, they saw, they did their Disney thing, right?
Yeah.
It's part of the DVC circle of life. And I keep,
Yeah.
saying I'll do a show on that, but that's really what's happening here. Is it about the 7 year mark? You
Yeah.
come full circle and it's time to just, reconsider. Hey, do I really need this? I've been coming to Disney for 7 years in a row now. I think I've got
Yeah.
the itch scratched. My kids are now 7 years older,
Hmm.
which if you bought it when they're 5, they're now 12. If you
Yeah.
bought it when, they were 10, they're now almost ready to go to college.
Hmm.
And you could be looking at this saying, I could use some money to pay for college. And
Sure.
I think that's what happens a lot more than we know about, Ron.
Absolutely. Well, you had stated a number of times the average DVC contract is only held for 7 years, if I recall.
Yeah, yeah. And I'll tell you what, we'll just actually bring up the sheet over there at Copper Creek
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
we'll look at it if people can zoom in really close.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing is, let me see if I can
Zoom in a
zoom
little
in
bit.
on this a
There
little
you
bit as
go.
well.
There we go.
Right? It's if you put 10% down, your financing with premium credit is 11%. And if you do 20% down, that drops down to 8.99%,
Right. Right.
which is a lot more reasonable.
Hmm.
And that's what I did on my Disneyland hotel ones. And I'm viciously working to get that thing kicked out of my life and at
Yeah.
least the
Yeah.
loan part of it. Yeah, we could live without the loan part. Let's get that thing paid off.
Absolutely.
But this is what the math here looks like. And you can start to see there's just this one $5, $10, 20, 25.
Yeah. It's not robust enough with everything else that's out there. Listen, at any given time, this might be okay. But with the other options that are available right now, this is probably my least favorite of all of them.
Yeah.
And I love the
And
resort. So it's not
I'm
about
just
the
looking at
resort.
this 4,000
Yeah.
points. Like, dude, for
Why
a
do they
million
even put it
bucks,
on
you
there,
could buy
man?
your own cabin here in Orlando. Like, wouldn't be right there at Disney property, but you could buy a pretty
I
nice
just
pad for $1 million here. And I guarantee you, you would have less than $34,000 a year in annual dues. Okay.
yeah, I
And
can't.
utilities and maintenance and taxes and upkeep. I guarantee you that.
I've
So, 'cause
often joked, man, when we're talking, I've often joked, like, why do they even show anything above like literally 500 on these sheets? It's just silly. You're talking about purchasing a home down there when you're looking at anything up in the 100,000 or more. And I know that 250 don't buy you much, but there's you're well on your way.
yeah, that's a really good down payment on something that will definitely appreciate.
Yeah.
And yeah, but I
Uh,
guess to their point, Ron, occasionally, from what I'm told, they get a big fish comes in that buys, 1,000 or 2,000 points or something along those lines. But just to come back in, I wanted to come
yeah,
back
yeah.
over and just, come over at listings and we're just going to come in here and look at this. We're going to come back in and hit Copper Creek over at DVC Resale Market. And we're seeing
Hmm.
148 a point.
Hmm.
And Steven, if you're still tuning in, what's your use year? We'll like
Yeah, we
filter
can
in on
sort it
this.
by the
And
use year, filter it by price per point right there.
but here's a 75 at February at 150.
Yeah, and that
And I
small
think,
contract, which goes for more of a premium than, and that's only at 150.
yeah, and it's not even stripped. So
August, Chad. He's put August as his use year.
oh, okay. He said August. So
Hmm.
we'll come back in. We'll filter in on August. Do, 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 do. And you got 8 contracts here right now to choose
Hmm.
from. Everything from 100, 150, 300, 200, 125, and an 85. So you this is a pretty good selection here.
Yeah, it
And
is.
starting to come back in and just look at this and going 140, 141, 152.
That 149, and that's fully loaded too. That's almost got a full front load with the 186 out of 200 right there.
Yeah, and they could bank those at this
Yeah,
point in time for you,
yeah,
unless
with
they
an
already
August
are
use year.
banked and
Yeah,
something. But chances are those are
no, they would
bankable.
show. They would likely show that already. That they'd already be moved over when they listed it.
Yeah, points available
Hmm. Yeah,
from
they're
August
bankable.
2024. So those are definitely
Bankable.
bankable, right? So
Like
that
that's
is a
that's a huge
smoking.
value right there. Yeah.
Yeah, and at 149, you could probably get them down to like 145-ish, or even try to just go, even just try to go
Yeah.
141 and say, hey, that was the average, and
Yeah.
I might
Hey,
start there, right? But
Steven, throw an offer in, man. You don't have to just say, okay, 149. Give them a number though. I mean, as long as you don't insult them. No, your rep at DVC Resale Market, which are all absolutely outstanding, will certainly let you know what makes sense. So,
yeah, and just to compare there, because we're looking at 200 points.
mhm.
So with the incentives, you're looking at 46 grand, and plus you've got some closing costs to throw in there. And I don't even know that that's not even on here. I think they probably build
No.
it into the financing.
It's built in. Yeah, it's built in.
And but
But
let me see there.
46,000 versus what's that where's the other page? Versus
46,000,
32.
29. Oh, okay,
Oh,
30. Yeah, 32 with
32.5 with
closing
closing
costs.
costs at 149. If you get them down even a few bucks, that's
Yeah.
dropping. That's
That's why we say check out Resale, make it an educated decision.
I was gonna say that's real money. That's a substantial amount of money.
Yeah, you're gonna feel that one. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
because we were looking at what 46K to
The
32K.
32 at asking price if you don't get any off from that.
Yeah, yeah. So you could probably, let's see, 200 points. Usually $2 is a no-brainer,
Yeah.
right? $2 is usually a no-brainer. Most
Mm-hmm.
people will come down $2. So that's 400 right there. So that's going to get us close
About
to
32.
32,000.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's still 16 grand or something.
Yeah.
Craziness.
Well, and factor in that's also got the annual dues for 25 already paid incorporated into that as well.
At
That's
100%.
1,700. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely some
So
money.
your actual points price, you're dropping 17 off of that too. So if you get it down to 32, you're actually at what 20 or 30,300 ish, right?
Yeah, because direct is only going to prorate your dues.
Mm-hmm.
So if you
Mm-hmm.
buy that now, they're going to prorate them from I think to the end of the year.
Yeah.
And so you're going to pay very little for your 2024 points for dues, but you're going to pay something.
Correct.
But
You're paying
something
nothing for
versus
here.
nothing
Yeah.
is
And you're
yeah.
still going to owe the 25s, and here they already got it into the full purchase price.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. The 25s are already baked into that.
Yeah, that's a good contract, Steve.
Yep.
Boy, we
And
got off track, didn't we?
no, but okay, now I'm just catching up with the comments. Here he's saying August.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Then he goes, "Oh, that 149 fully loaded is a good deal
mm-hmm.
as well."
It's a great
And
deal.
yeah, it certainly is. And by the way, last time I did this on a show and pulled up a good deal on a contract, the person went out that was commenting went out and bought the
And
thing
bought it.
like
Yeah.
the very next day. So
Yeah.
see, even if you do this, let Andy, Jody, you know, whoever you're working with there,
Yep.
no,
Yep.
you know, drop my name in here. Like,
Yeah.
so,
Linda. Yeah, Linda makes a great point.
and Linda's saying, you know, if we were adding on, I would do resale. And Linda's like an OG boardwalk owner.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, Linda, do you stay anywhere else but Boardwalk? You're always in Boardwalk.
And I mean, she gives us that little hint in her profile picture here
Yeah.
too. You know what I'm
And I
saying?
love the
So
Boardwalk. I love the Boardwalk. I actually have to book in the morning for a trip I'm taking in July, and I booked the first half of it. I wanted Boardwalk and it wasn't available, darn it, and had to go over to the Riviera. So that's okay though.
that's okay. It's a short Skyliner ride
It is. It is.
with no lightning, right? With no lightning. That's the
Oh
big
gosh.
caveat and
Yeah.
if there. But
Yeah, well, that's why Ron is a professional stalker. So we shall see what happens over the next couple
that's
months.
that's definitely true here, Ron.
Yeah.
So if you had it
Yeah.
to do over right now, Ron, and you were
Yeah.
buying in brand new, what would you do?
Well, that is a great question, Chad. And the funny thing is, for people who don't know, I am a fairly recent owner. I bought in the year 2020, so I've only been an owner for 4 years. And I've already done things differently from when I first purchased with Jody at the DVC resale market, and now subsequently with different changes in life. I bought a lot of direct points now, which I'm not unhappy about. I did pay a
Mhm.
little bit more for them, but I utilized resale contracts and made a little bit of money because there was some
Mhm.
increase in the value from the
Yeah.
purchase point moving forward. And then I guess what I would do differently, and everybody says it, I would have bought earlier, but it isn't always plausible for people. So don't put yourself in harm's way
No, you're
to go
buying
buy
right
it.
now, Ron.
You're right.
Like
If I'm,
you're
yeah,
with all that you know now from,
yeah.
you know, 4 years of membership,
Hmm.
how would you redo this?
Well, I'd still am going to recommend buying where I want to stay. So I'm going to pick my favorite resort, and I'm definitely going to make that my primary focus. I would only buy the direct points necessary for member benefits, and I would
Okay.
certainly go resale for the rest of them. Although, like we alluded to a moment ago with Disneyland Hotel, you got to have either direct points or Disneyland hotel points. So, boy, there's so many variables. Uh I would have just bought more early, I think. I would have bought more earlier. So if I were buying now, if I thought I needed 300, I would see if I could get 4. Or if I thought I needed 150, I'd see what do I got to do to make sure I can get 2 or 250.
What are you doing for your
Because
blue card, Ron?
what's that?
What are you doing for your
Where
blue card?
where would I go?
Yeah.
Well, based on the incentives right now, I would buy Poly
Okay.
for the blue card. And that tower, from all the videos I've seen over the last couple days, is
It's
everything
smoking.
in it's everything in a bag of chips. But while we're on that, and let's not get off track, but there's a lot of people that have been watching all these same videos if they're DVC freak like we are. So I the Poly penthouse, 2 bedrooms. You saw the videos for those yet, Chad?
I have not. So
Okay. Take a look at them. Yeah. There's just a few things. Let's save that for another time. There's a few things that I'm like, I love them. They're beautiful, but really, a few things.
okay, so
So take
this
a
is
look
my
at them.
take after owning since
Yeah,
2017, and I
yeah,
bought Poly Direct, like the
hmm,
last round of incentives it
yeah,
had, I was in on, and then right after that, they were like, "Okay, we're done with incentives." They jacked up the price, and we're like,
hmm,
"No incentives on this," and I got in on the
yeah.
last round, and I bought Copper Creek as well, and I got in
Right.
on opening day incentives on that. Okay,
Okay.
so if I had it to do over again right now,
Hmm.
I still don't stay at Poly all that often, right?
No.
But I've learned home advantage doesn't mean all that much to me here in Walt Disney World.
Right.
Because if I'm any place in Walt Disney World, I'm happy. My wife's
Right.
favorite place is Animal Kingdom. I can always get that at the 7-month mark. And if I can't, I can waitlist it and it will come through within the next 7 months. So Old Key West is awesome. I have lots of elbow room there. I love that. Love Bay
Yeah.
Lake.
Yeah.
Right. I love like every resort or almost every one. There's some that I'm like one and done. And for me, that would be Riviera. I just don't like the point charts there. I don't like
Yeah.
being stranded by the Skyliner with lightning. So
Yeah.
that one's off the list. And then
Yeah.
I'm looking at dues. Okay.
Yeah.
I love me some cheap dues. And I look at
yeah.
all of that and I'm like, I'm going Poly again.
Yeah.
I'm
Poly.
going Poly again. And I'm also going Disneyland Hotel.
Yeah.
For the
sure,
simple
reasons
for
we
the
talked
simple
about.
fact that I want a home resort over in Disneyland and I
Mhm.
want my toes in the water there.
You betcha.
So
You
I'm
betcha.
probably buying more than the 150 minimum, but then I don't have to worry about it. I can use any point anywhere.
Yeah.
Don't have to worry about it. No fuss,
Yep.
no muss. Okay. So that's the two that I'm looking at doing, and I would go heavier on Poly than I would Disneyland.
For sure. For
Right
sure.
now, I
Although,
own 200 at Disneyland, and my family loves it, and they want to stay in a 2-bedroom, which
Yeah.
means we can't do that every year.
No.
But reasonably, you don't have to go to Disneyland every
No.
year because you can go there for 4 or 5 days and do everything.
Oh, yeah.
And if you go back next year, there's really not a lot that's changed. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's
yeah.
not like it's an every year thing for me over at Disneyland.
No, and we have 150, Chad. We talked obviously when it first came out, and we had been as it was leading up to it, we were going back and forth with what we thought we were going to do, and you know, you landed on 200, I landed on the 150 because I don't see myself going to California every single year. So
Nope.
to be able to do a bank or a borrow and have that 300, even if I need a 2-bedroom, to your point, I'm going for a 4 or 5 day weekend. I'm not going for a full-on week or more like in Disney World. And that's a great point that you made. You literally don't need that much time, so you don't need that many points. And yeah, I agree with you there. So and remember that too when purchasing direct. You know, you don't necessarily have to buy everything you think you need if you don't go every year.
Yeah. This dues thing, I'm out. Okay. This dues thing,
oh yeah,
I'm in.
yeah.
This 11-month advantage to own something in Disneyland, I'm in.
Still
and I'm going to
yeah.
suffer through this because this is just atrocious to me, but I'm going to suffer through it.
It's criminal, but
that's what
California.
I'm doing if I'm buying direct again is I'm all in on Poly. And
yeah, Poly would be my choice right there with the current incentives. And there's a comment from Andrew we should address here.
Yep.
And so, Andrew, the answer to that is yes. Yeah.
I wanted to answer our questions here before I came back in and do that. And,
oh, sorry. Gotcha.
Yep. And so, well, Linda's here saying that we actually love Old Key West and then Boardwalk. So, and she'll be there in February. And Andrew says, okay, possible first-time buyer considering 200 points direct. Would you recommend buying Poly cash in late February or proceeding now with financing and quickly paying it off in a few months? Let me stop sharing here and we'll go back to the other screen. So they do not make it easy in StreamYard to do this.
No.
So, but let me find the Poly incentives. And where are they at?
Poly incentives for 200. You're talking $12 a point. It's a 225 right now. $12 a point. No other credit.
Alani, my favorite resort. I am not looking at it direct simply due to the resale gap.
Yeah.
It's just not happening. I'm not doing it.
No.
So chances are if you could pay cash in February, you got 20% you could do now. And as long as you can do that, you're looking at $42,000, and that will get you your blue card. It'll get you enough wiggle room to do what you need to do there. Because if you want to stay there, the point charts are really, really high at Poly. And remember, I'm a buy there for the dues and buy there to rent them because they rent so well. Premium. But I rarely ever stay at Poly, and I've owned it since 2017. So Not that I have anything against it. I just like going where my points go farther.
So, Chad, can I jump in? What do you think now? Obviously, the tower has been on sale for a little while now. People are now able to, just open this week. What are your thoughts? If sales don't go as gangbusters as they're anticipating with the direct sales, because again, part of the original association, people don't have to buy direct to stay there. It's looped in. Any resale point can work there. So, do you think, because he had asked about maybe waiting till I wouldn't wait till late February. I would wait till early February, that window when you can see of what the new incentives are going to be.
Yeah, so this developer credit starts and expires 7 days after the initial tour. I don't know when these incentives end, okay? And I'm going to want to find that out, Andrew. I was looking at this and it says all tours must be completed by February 10th. And offer and date is subject to change as I'm reading the fine print right here.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know when these things expire, but I would find that question out. That'd be the first question to my direct guide.
First question. Absolutely.
Like, when do these poly things expire? And then I'm going to play my new versus new existing incentives now versus existing incentives then. And it could be February 10th because that's about the date I think they're going to raise the prices.
It is, yeah. Well, that's what we're told.
So sometimes DVC will raise the prices $10, but then raise the incentives 12.
Right.
Right. So that, okay, but see, yes, we raised the price, but actually we made it cheaper for you is what they want to tell you. And then that's a really short-lived incentives. And now the incentives go from $10, right?
To $6.
To like $6, right?
Or $5.
And now the real price increase kicks in. So again, do the math. What is it per point after it all settles out?
Yep.
But I'm going to find a way to lock into this and see if it gets better, especially if you don't need it till February. And now the other thing I'll tell you is if you're looking to buy a February use year, bad plan.
Yeah.
You need to come back in and pull the trigger by January 30th so that you get this year's points and they'll bank them forward to next year. Because if you're buying a February use year and you're waiting till February 2nd, you're not going to get 2024 points. 2025's already started.
Right.
And buying direct. So I wouldn't touch that. I definitely would not touch that as well.
And of course, Randy will give him all this information, right?
So, yes, Randy or your direct guide. My direct guide is Randy Kruger, like Freddy, the Nightmare on Elm Street guy. And it's actually spelled the same way. I think his email is randy.kruger@disney.com. Not that I get anything from that.
No,
right?
no. I have a different guide. I have a different direct guide. So
I've sent
they're
Randy
all great.
I've sent Randy like hundreds of people over the years. Yeah. And it was just within the last 9 months that I met him in person. And the most that I got out of it was a lunch at Artist Point at Saratoga Springs. So, and I don't even think he expensed that. So, it's I'm sending it to you for your benefit because I know there's some better guides out there. I'll just leave it at that. And I know Randy is definitely one of them. Guy named Mo as well I've met him on a cruise ship. Phenomenal guide. I would highly recommend him as well.
Well, my guide is David Miller. David's been there a long time. He's always been great to me. I've referred a few people to him. They give great feedback. So there's probably not a bad direct guide. Maybe there's one or two. They won't. I was gonna say long.
If you stick with the really, really, really old school ones,
right.
I know you're gonna do well.
Exactly.
Some of the newer ones, I don't know. I don't get as good a feedback from listeners on that as well.
Hey, we've sat in the DVC lounges. We've heard some of them talking, Chad, while we're sitting there enjoying a beverage. So,
So Steven wants to know, is Direct still offering the 1K if you have a stay booked in the future? I don't know if that's still valid or not.
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Like I know that you can use if you're brand new, the banner that I had up here. So the mydvcpoints.com/dream it forward for 500 off. if there's a future stay credit, it will stack with that. And
Yeah.
so yeah, go back and listen to the whole show if you're just
Yeah.
tuning in now, and because I talk all about, you know, getting that referral bonus from a friend.
Yeah.
And you can use mine if you don't have anybody else, but if you got a friend, take care of your friend.
Grant. Go buy more
Especially
points, Grant.
yeah. Especially if you've got a friend that's answering your DVC questions as the one-off,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Throw them a
I
bone.
can be that friend for you, but I don't want to take that from anybody. And so
No.
Andrew says, can I select an October use year? Pet peeve of mine. Absolutely, positively buy whatever use year you want to buy. And you are
I'm an
not a
October
buyer
guy.
without my use year. Do
I am an
not let them
October
tell
guy.
you anything.
Nope.
Right. And
October is a great use year. I love October.
yeah, at one point in time, I had a use year optimizer where you could rate every month out of 12 and see how much you want to do that. If you want that, shoot me an email at mydvcpoints@gmail.com, and I'll see if I can dig up that old Excel spreadsheet. And, you know, you rate every month. Like I go every year, every other year, rarely, occasionally. And then the bottom one is not even with pixie dust. Like, you know, September for my family with a teacher wife is a not even with pixie dust kind of month.
No, not
right?
going to happen.
But it'll let you know statistically what would be better for you. And and that's because the last 4 months of the year you cannot bank points. The last 4 months of your use year you cannot bank points.
Correct.
So if you want to go every August and September, like August would stay away, be bad, right? But if you want a food and wine person and you want to come in for that in October, November, maybe you're a Run Disney guy and you want to come to the Run Disney event for wine and dine, October would be awesome for you. And so Rob N is saying, I love the analysis here. I have 300, 150, 75, 75 direct points at VGF. Bought in the great summer 2023 fire sale, but my heart is still at Poly. And would you sell 150 VGF to get in at Poly, resale, or direct? No. So, nope, not doing it. Like if they're all direct, like why give up any of that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Don't give up your flexibility just to get 11 month at Poly, because the old school Poly, you don't need to own there to book. Okay. There's so many studios there.
Correct.
And they're so high a point chart that they're never gone at 7 months. And if you go over to dvchelp.com and look at availability chart, shout out to Pete from our newscast team. That's his independent site. He will map it all out for you as to when things sell out. Now, the new Poly Tower is going to be hot for the next 2 years.
Yeah.
As everybody in the DVC system always wants to try the newest, greatest thing, especially those of us who have been around a long time.
Yeah.
We always want into the new thing because it's the only thing here we really haven't done before.
Right.
So it's hot for 2 to 3 years, and then it dies down.
Yeah.
And you've also got all the new owners that want to stay in their home resort for the first 2 to 3 times before they get adventurous and want to start to move out as well. So no, Rob, I'm not selling to buy that. And because you're basically just going to do a trade out as well. You might even pay more for it at resale.
I think you will, because heck, that fire sale, which I was a part of, I think it was a little earlier than 23 though, that I got mine, because there was a couple different fire sales, with Grand Flow, 21 or 20, whatever it was. Anyway, the price per point ended up being like literally equal to resale. So it was an absolute no-brainer. I mean, that might be your goal for your next purchase. If you look to add on,
I was about ready to say
on Poly. Yeah. Look for
like
scour the
Ron,
website.
you're stealing the words out my mouth.
Sorry,
again.
Man. Sorry.
Right.
Stalk the website.
No. If like seriously, if you're interested in buying more direct because you don't want to give up direct, I would just get in on some of these incentives right now at Poly.
Yeah.
It's you're not going to pay that much more to buy Poly Direct now than
Right.
resale. We already looked at that analysis. What was it? 45 more a point at 150.
Yeah.
And chances are you're going to want more points because 300
Right.
is a little on the low side if you're coming multiple times a year.
It is for
And
us.
I could not personally survive on 300 points a year. And
I barely survive on double that shit. I just transferred points from my brother-in-law last night for me to book tomorrow morning because I needed more. There's
yeah,
always always a need for more.
I have 525 and I don't even stay at Walt
Yeah.
Disney World anymore. And it's not enough.
You live 5 minutes from the
Yeah.
gate.
Yeah. It's I can literally go from garage to Epcot in 16 minutes.
Yeah.
And I do not stay at Walt Disney World anymore because I can pop over to any of the resorts.
Right.
I have enough friends and listeners and everybody else that'll come in and add me to a reservation. I can go hang out, jump in the pools, whatever. You know what I'm saying? As a legit registered guest. So no, I mean, I'm using my points at Disneyland and Alani, and love me some Alani. Yeah. 20 ways from
can
Sunday.
I just finish a thought with Rob here? So I just pulled up the Poly chart again. Remember, you don't have to buy 150, Rob, because you're a member already.
Right.
So you could, if the incentives aren't, and again, they're good, they're not outstanding, but they're good. So, but if you're not in a position to go and go drop another, 32 grand on the 150 points, and you say, okay, what if I can grab 50? What if I can grab 75? You're coming in at 11 or 16, 17,000. It's a lot more easy entry point for you. And you're going to still get some Poly points that you could book at the 11 month. And maybe you do a split stay with the Grand Flow or with one of the other resorts that are out there. Just a thought, man. I wanted to throw that out at you.
Yeah. Now he could be looking at like, I'm a 1-bedroom kind of guy. And if that's the case, anything less than 200 ain't going to do.
I got you.
Those point charts are insane. So figure out where you're at now, but just know, like, you're going to want longer stays. You're going to want bigger accommodations. You're going to want, it's the name of the game. So if you can afford to buy direct and add on, great. If not, look at buying resale there, but I would just add on. I wouldn't sell. Nope, not doing it.
There's new information. There's new information.
So, and, I neglected to share that I have 250 Alani and 160 Grand Cal resale. So I have plenty. I just was to keep 300 in the direct bucket. Yeah, I would not go below 300 in the direct bucket.
And why? I mean, if you want to own at Poly because you want the 11-month window versus Grand Floridian, for that swap that you mentioned back in the other comment, then to do what's going to make you happy. But I mean, looking at it from a fiscal sense, I don't think that I wouldn't pay more just to get the other resort unless I really wanted the other resort. That's just my opinion.
No, I'm just going to do some quick math here as well.
Yeah.
So 250 plus 300 plus 160. He's got 710 points that are all eligible to book the Poly Tower.
Correct. Right now.
Right now.
7 months. Yeah.
So yeah, you're just really talking about the 11-month advantage. And you're not going to save anything on dues right now. Poly and Grand Flow are the same.
Very close. Yeah.
Right. Grand Cal is also very cheap. Don't sell the Grand Cal. Right.
Right.
And Alani, break my heart to sell that. So, but and Grant's with me. He's an Alani lover as well.
Absolutely.
So yeah. Anyways, that's kind of our thoughts tonight. Ron, we've been going about an hour now. I think we've
can't believe it.
Addressed all the comments as well. It always does, Ron. We have fun.
I know.
We nerd out. We do what we do best, and answer questions, help people, do our analysis, and encourage people to always do your own research. Okay.
Yeah.
This DVC is a complicated product. We really want you to understand it before you even consider buying it, and have every question you have answered as well. And so here's a fun question as well. How many decades will DVC be selling the cabins if they don't include Lakeside Lodge?
That's funny.
You know, our friends over at DVC News, and I think Chris and I love Riviera is his tag name over there. Is I think he did a little analysis for us that said at the rate the cabins were selling before this fire sale, it would take 69 years for them to sell out of a 50-year contract.
Uh-huh.
That's how bad these things are moving. It's yeah, these things are just
Well, they say when the horse doesn't get out of the gate, that's what the cabin sales were. They broke at the gate.
And I keep hearing from people who stay in them that absolutely love them.
Of course.
So I think they did the redesign right, and they
it's
lowered
gorgeous,
their
they
dues
say,
this year. I think that was the right thing. Tighten up the belt, make it a little more attractive looking.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, nobody wants to own something that's only one booking category.
Right.
And it just doesn't have flexibility. It doesn't have my family's growing. Like it's there's just so many things that are just wrong about that.
I mean, that was a knock on the Poly all those years, right, Chad? There was just the O's, the studio or the bungalow. So now that they got the tower, that makes a big difference there with the cabins. Now, stay tuned, because if they do something with that trust, that could change the whole game. So that could
it sure could. It sure could. And but I mean, they still messed up Poly because they didn't put Grand Villas in there and they didn't put studios at Sleep 5. So it's like,
but
y'all are killing me here. Like,
listen,
y'all know how to do this. Okay.
I told you I'm booking tomorrow. So I want to give you so from July 19th to July 23rd, these numbers are in my head still. The Grand Villa at the Grand Floridian is 548 points. If I wanted the penthouse 2-bedroom, half the size, because the Grand Villa is like 2,800 square feet. From what I'm seeing with information online, those penthouses are about 14 and change. The view is untouchable, don't get me wrong, but the points for that are like only 12 points less. So their Grand Villa pricing for the view basically is what you're talking about.
Yeah. It's
so put a Grand Villa in there. They should have put a Grand Villa in there.
The other thing is, I understand that those bird holes to fly through the cabins are pretty spectacular viewing as well.
Yeah.
But as an owner who would love to have more points for sale in the same amount of space, and lower our dues just a little bit more.
I was going to bring that up.
How many millions of dollars did you guys give up in sales?
Gave it up. Yep.
You just gave it up. Like sooner or later, Ron, I'll go over there. I'll do the math on what they could have put in those holes.
Square footage wise. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, it's a stack, right? So if there's 2 bedrooms below it, or if there's 2-bedroom lock-offs below it, then I can figure out how many 2-bedroom lock-offs would go in each hole. Look at the point charts, do the math, multiply it by 225 a point, and that's how many millions of dollars those holes cost.
They'd have been better off. They'd have been better off doing a Cali Grill type scenario on the top with a restaurant or something with a viewing deck, or a Bay Lake area. The Villains Lair, top of the world. They'd have been better off with that and still been able to maximize the potential space for revenues.
Yeah. It could be. So anyways, guys, that's kind of our show tonight. And Ron, thank you for joining us as well. Dude, thank you for being a very long time loyal Patreon member as well. I don't say thanks enough to the Patreon members when I have them on the show, and I need to do a better job of that. So thank you so much for your support there, Ron.
Of course.
And thank you to all of our Patreon members that are out there listening or catching the replay of this. And a huge shout out of thanks to our sponsors, DVC Resale Market, DVC Rental Store, and Monera Financial for your continued support as well. As always, guys, hopefully you learned something in our shows that'll help you make an informed and educated decision about what's best for your family when it comes to your dollars and your vacation time. As well, hopefully you found something here to plan something magical for your family. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Have a good night. And thanks, Ron, for all of that you do to help our
good night,
community.
everybody.
Good night, everybody.